And let's start with the NFC East. Let's start with the Cowboys. They have the 20th strength of schedule. The over and under is 8.5. Ron, what's your pick?
Yeah, listen, 7-9-1 last year. I think their team's better than they were last year, so I can easily see them going over 8.5. You talked about their strength of schedule. It's not that bad. So I'm going over.
I'm going over too. I think that 7-9-1 record was deceiving. There was a lot of games that they could have won. They just had the defense needed to be better, and I think that they did that. The Eagles have the 23rd strength of schedule. Over and under is 10.5. Ron, what'd you give them?
Yeah, you lose your receiver. You got a tougher schedule this year.
One of the linemen retired, right? One of the offensive linemen retired.
Yep. You won 11 games last year, but 10.5 seems high to me. I mean, they can win 11, but I'm going to go under. Say they win 10 games.
Yeah, I went under. Even though AJ Brown wasn't like a part of their offensive scheme, right. But I just don't. Now with that, first of all, they lost one of the Travis Kelce brothers, right? Then they lost another to retirement. I just don't know if this line is going to be that good. I went under. Giants have the 17th strength of schedule. They over and under 7.5. Ron, what'd you?
Yeah, 4 wins last year. Can they double that and get to 8? I think they can. I have Harbor winning Coach of the Year, so I'm taking the over.
Yeah, I'm taking the over. I think they should win more than 4 games.
The 7.5, though, can they win 8 or more?
8 only because I feel the Eagles and Commanders are going to be weaker this year. So, yeah, I'm going to pick the over. Commanders, 16th strength of schedule. Over and under 7.5. Ron, what'd you give them?
I think this one's going to be close, but I'm going under here. 5 wins last year. I think they're closer to that team than they were the year before. I think they'll be, right around 7. So I'm going to go under.
I'm going to go under as well. No Kingsbury. He went to the Chargers or the Rams. I think the Rams he went to. He's a special assistant of the offense. I don't know. Sometimes they give him titles as like made up titles. But I just don't think this team is going to be as good as last year. And last year was a pretty bad team. Jaden Daniels was hurt, right? So let's move on to the NFC North. Let's start with the Lions. 27th strength of schedule. They're over and under 10.5. Ron, what'd you?
Yeah, easy schedule. And they played terrible last year, still won 9 games. So I'm going over to 10.5. I think they'll get to 11 wins, if not more, based on their schedule.
I went under. I think 10.5 might be a little bit too much. I see them right at 10, no more than 11. I know they improved. Supposedly they got offensive coordinator, a real one now, and all that jazz. I just think that the Packers and the Bears got better. So I went under on them. Packers, 3rd strength of schedule. So it's a pretty hard schedule. 10.5 is the over and under. Ron, what'd you give?
Yeah, I'm going under. I don't have faith in Love. They won 9 games last year. So, they were barely had the over last year. I don't, and then Parsons, I don't know when he's coming back. So I'm going to go under 10.5.
I'm going to go over here because I really like the Packers. Love is actually a pretty good regular season starter, not so much in the playoffs. Parsons, we don't know when he's come back, but they have a good running back. So
yeah, but no Dobbs this year too on top of it.
No Dobbs, but Packers are kind of like the Steelers. They're just a wide receiver factory. So, next man up, I'm going to go over with them. Vikings, 11th strength of schedule. Is that right? 6.5?
8.5.
8.5 is the over and under. Ron, what'd you give them?
Yeah, 9 wins last year. I'm going under. Listen, I think Kyler Murray will be better. But I'm still going to go under.
I'm going to go under as well. I know the defense is basically unchanged. Flores is still there, but you need a quarterback. I don't know what Kevin McConnell is what kind of magic he still has left in the tank. I just don't think they win, 9 games. I think they take a step back, maybe win 7. The Bears, the toughest schedule in all of NFL. Number 1, 9.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
You said it, the toughest schedule. I don't know how much would change next year with their offense. I think a lot of things went their way for last year's games, especially like a lot of those comebacks. That's not going to happen this year. I'm going under for them. I think they'll take a slight step back. I don't think it means it's the end of the world for the Bears. They won't have a good future, but I'm going to go under and give them less than 10 wins.
Yeah, I'm going to change mine from over to under. Number one toughest schedule. They lost one of the receivers to the Bills because of that one play. Just talk to the dude. Just be like, hey, you cost us this game. And then you move on. You don't just magically trade him. But I think they're going to go under. I really like the Packers in this division. So I'm going to go under with them. Moving on to the NFC South. The Buccaneers, the local team. 21 strength of schedule. 8.5 is the over and under. Ron?
They finished with 8 wins last year. But their schedule is a little bit easier, a lot of it easier probably than it was last year. They know Mike Evans, but they got some decent receivers. They got 2 good running backs. I'm going to go over. I don't have a lot of confidence. It might be right at 9 wins, but I'm going to go over with Tampa Bay.
I'm going to go under because there's a lot of unknowns, right? Is Mayfield going to get the extension or he's going to just play out the season? Like you said, no Mike Evans. Will this be the last chance? I feel like their defense is getting old. I'm not very, I'm not very confident in this team. So I think the under. I don't think they win 9 games. Saints, 31st strength of schedule, pretty easy. 7.5 is the over and under. Ron, what'd you give them?
Going over, they won 6 games last year with Tyler Shuck playing as a rookie. You got a good rookie receiver. I know he's hurt, but he'll be back. You added some other weapons. I think he takes a huge step up, and I'm going over. Don't be surprised if next week when we do our predictions for play, I think it's next week we're doing it, that I have them potentially winning the NFC South.
Falcons, I went over too. I think that Kellen Moore, Tyler Shuck, and eventually the defense gets better. I went over. Falcons, 28th strength of schedule. I think they'll have pretty easy schedule because that division is so bad. 7.5 is the over and under. Ron, what'd you give them?
I'm going under. Quarterback situation. They lost both their outside linebackers, their pass rushers. I think they're going to have a really bad season with Tua at their quarterback. I think they'll be bouncing back and forth, Tua and Penix. I'm going under, and I think it'll be way under.
I went under with the Falcons too. No quarterback. I know Kevin Stefanski might give him a bump, but what kind of bump is? I don't know why the Browns kept him for so long. He didn't. I don't think he won a division. I don't think he even went to the playoffs, right?
I think he got a coach of the year.
Yeah, but he didn't. Did he win a division? No. So, I went under. Panthers, 10th. Oh, actually, 10th strength of schedule. 7.5 is the over and under. Ron, what'd you give them?
I'm going over. I think they will get to 8 wins. I think they'll, they got to 8 last year. I think they can do that again this year, and they may even get to 9 wins. Will it be enough to win the division? Don't know, but I'm going over.
Yeah, this is my dark horse to win the division is the Panthers. I went over. I think that this division just like last year, if you have 8 wins, you're already in it. You're at the top of the. If you get to 9 wins, that's yours. It's your division. So, yeah, give me the Panthers to go over that 7.5. NFC West, which I think next to the NFC North is one of the toughest division. 49ers, 18th strength of schedule. 10.5 is the over and under. Ron, what'd you give?
Yeah, I think they'll get to 11. They won 12 last year. I think their team has improved a little bit. Mike Evans will help. I'm going over.
I'm going over as well. I think Purdy is actually going to be healthy this year. And if it's not Purdy, it could be, what's the other dude?
Mac Jones.
Return of the Mac. I'm going over. The Rams, 13th strength of schedule, 11.5. What's your prediction?
11.5 is high. So can they get to 12 wins, basically, which is what they did last year? 12-5. I went under this year. I think listen, I do think they deserve to be the Super Bowl favorites, but you still got to face the 49ers. You got to face the Seahawks. You got to face like some other teams. I'm going to go under, not by a lot. I think they'll get to 11 wins, but I'm going under.
I think every game is going to be cinema, where there's 49ers versus Rams or Rams versus Seahawks or Seahawks versus 49ers. Every game should be televised on Fox. I'm going to go over with the Rams. I know this is everyone's Super Bowl pick, everyone's favorite offense, all of that stuff. And, if Puka actually controls himself, I think they can get to over 12 wins. So I'm going to go over. Super Bowl champions Seattle Seahawks, 14th in the strength of schedule. 10.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
Yeah, I'm surprised it's just 10.5. And Rams got 11.5. I'm going over. Seattle won 14 games last year. It's not like they barely made the playoffs or anything. So I'm taking the over. I think they'll comfortably win 11 games this year.
Yeah, I'm taking the over as well. I know they lost their running back, but I think Sam Darnold is going to be better. JSN is going to be better. As I mentioned before, they have a rookie for Notre Dame that should be better too. I'm going to go over, and I think the defense is going to be. And they have a 14th strength of schedule, which is the middle of the pack. So, yeah, I'm going over. Cardinals, 4th strength of schedule. 4.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's the prediction?
Yeah, I'm surprised it's the 4th schedule. 4th hardest. I had them going 0-11, right? When we went through the schedule to start the season. It's hard to do this, but I'm going under 4.5. They'll be lucky if they get to 4 wins. They won 3 last year. I don't see 4 wins on that, schedule. So I'm going under.
I'm going under too. This is the toughest division, probably maybe in the NFL, to be honest. They have 3 playoff teams in their division. And as you mentioned, they have a gauntlet of teams. So, yeah, I'm going under. They can't do it. Let's move on to the AFC Conference. And let's start with the AFC East. Buffalo Bills have the 8th strength of schedule. 10.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
I'm going over. I know they got a tough schedule this year, but they got most of their pieces back. They added a receiver from Chicago, like you said, and they won 12 games. So I think they can get to 11. I'm going over.
I'm going over as well. They've done 11 wins like the past 4 years.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if the schedule's easy, hard. As long as Josh Allen's on the team, they're going to do it. So I'm going over. Next team, Miami Dolphins. Strength of schedule is 2.
Yeah.
4.5 is the over and under. Ron, what'd you give them?
Listen, they won 7 games last year. It's not like they traded every single player they had. Yeah, they're not a good team, but they can get to 5 wins if they won 7 last year with, I forgot, Malik Willis is their quarterback. So I'm going over. It might just be right at 5 or they could get to 6, but I'm going over.
I'm going under. Still can't name a receiver on that team.
It's true.
I know that Frank Wright, I'm not even sure he's a Dolphins head coach. It could be somebody else. I think it's that guy from the Packers. Anyways, Malik Willis, I feel bad for you, but
Jeff Hafley,
yeah. I just don't think this is a good team, and I don't think the ownership knows that they're not going to win a lot of games. 4.5 to me seems too much. I win them. Speaking of winless teams, the Jets, they have the 12th hardest schedule. 5.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
I'm going under. I don't think they can get to 6 wins. They were 3-14 last year. They got some. I like their first. I think they had 2 first-round picks. Glenn won't make it the full season. I think he gets fired by like week 8 or 9. So I'm going.
I'm going under as well. I don't know if he even Woody Johnson. That whole ownership. It's just garbage. It's just plain garbage. I don't know. It's a race for last place between Miami. So I'm going to go under. Talk about my team, New England Patriots. 6th hardest schedule. 9.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
Yeah, I gave them 8 wins, so that's obviously under. 9.5, I think, is a little bit high to me, to be honest with you, with the over-unders in their schedule, the strength of schedule. They won 14 last year. Now, will they drop all the way to just 9 wins or 8 wins? I had to go back and look, Sarek, to see if that's even possible, and if any team has done that. It actually happened just last year from the Lions. I think they had won 14 the year before. Right. And then, last year they only won 9. So I think it can happen. Detroit had a bunch of injuries, but I think the strength of schedule with the Patriots, I think it's going to be really, hard to get to 10 wins. So I'm going under.
Yeah, I'm going to go over. I think that 10 wins I predicted. I predict May's going to have a good season. Yes, the depth on the team is an issue, but they just traded for a safety. He's not going to be a starter, but again, it's just adding depth. So I'm going to go over the 9.5. AFC North, Ravens, 24th strength of schedule, 11.5 wins. What's your prediction?
Yeah, and just to run through the AFC North. So just based on these over-unders, they have the Ravens first, the Bengals second, the Steelers third. And I don't know how many years in a row the Steelers have to win the division to get some respect, but listen, I got the Ravens going under. They won 8 games last year, and a brand new coach this year who's never coached football as a head coach. I can't see them getting to 12 wins. I'm taking the under. And I might go way under. I might log in tonight after this on like FanDuel or something and hit that under like really hard.
Yeah, send me a screenshot. I want to see that. I want to see you take the under on the Ravens. I too am going to take the under. I think they win maybe 11 games. 12 is a little rich for me. They have a pretty easy schedule, kind of like the Browns and the Bengals.
Well, you laughed at me when I said they would miss the playoffs last year, and they missed the playoffs last year.
Yeah, and then what happened? John Harbaugh got fired.
Yes, yeah.
Yep. But I'll take the under with the Ravens. The Browns, easiest schedule in all of football, 32nd. 5.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
Listen, quarterback situation is a hot mess. But what I just say about the Browns, I think they've had like the best draft in the last like 3 years. So they got tons of talent, including the defensive rookie of the year. I'm going over here. I think they can easily get to 6 wins. They won 5 last year. I think they can have a pretty competitive season. Not necessarily win a division or anything like that or make the playoffs, but I'm going to go over, even with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I'm going to go over as well. I think that the Myles Garrett trade was actually in their favor. They got a young player, a couple of draft picks. They used him wisely. So really, the quarterback just has to be competent. That's all they need to be competent. They have Judkins. They got a good running back.
Right.
Yeah, they just have to be competent. So I went over. Pittsburgh Steelers, 19th strength of schedule. 8.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
I'm going over here. The schedule is not that difficult. I think, towards the back end, it gets a little bit hard, but if they get off to a decent start, they can get to 9 wins. I predicted that they'll get to 11. I think I changed it to, so I'm going over.
Yeah, I think they can get to 9 victories. I went over as well. Schedule is favorable. Like you said, if they 6-2, 5-3 record by the bye, I think it's achievable. So I went over. Bengals, 30th strength of schedule. 9.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's your prediction?
Easy schedule. You would think that means, they can make a run for it. But listen, 6 wins last year. I don't think they can protect Burrow. I don't think they've done enough on their defense. I'm going under. I don't think they're a playoff team. I think the Vegas always overrates the Bengals, and I think they're going to have less than 10.
I went under only because I think that this is going to be a 2-team race between the Ravens and the Steelers. I don't. Joe Burrow's we just don't know if he's going to be healthy, right? And saw that first game in the preseason, he was sacked hard. I'm like, oh man, this is more of the same. So I went under. AFC South, Texans, 25th strength of schedule. 9.5 is the over and under. Ron, what's you give them?
I'm surprised it's just 9.5. I mean, they won 12 games last year, and they got an easy schedule again this year. I know Stroud didn't play well at the end, and I know they got some injuries at receiver position, but I'm going over. I think they'll easily get to 10 wins. Another one that I might, jump in and put some money on.
Yeah, I went over with the Texans. Easy schedule. Yes, they have some minor issues at running back and at receivers, but that defense is so stout.
Right.
It's so stout. I don't think they need to do much. The Jaguars, 22 strength of schedule, 8.5 wins. Ron, what'd you give them?
Listen, I do think they take a step back this year, but they won 13 games last year. They're not going to get to 13, but I am still going over. I think they can get to 9 wins or more, so I'm going over.
Yeah, I think I'm going over with them as well. I think that we don't know what we're going to get out of the Colts, and we know the Titans are pretty bad. So this is going to be between the Texans and the Jaguars. So I went over. 13 wins is a lot. They're probably going to be like around 10, my guess. Speaking of which, Colts, 29th strength of schedule, 7.5 victories. It's the over and under. Ron, what'd you give them?
Yeah, I think they can go over. It all depend on the health of their quarterback for sure. But I have them getting to 8 wins. They got there last year. 8 and 9 is where they finished. So I think they can get to 8 wins again.
Yeah, same here. Daniel Jones should be, if not good, better. But he is coming off an injury, so who knows? I'm gonna go over. I think 8 wins is about where they are. I think this. It could be even. It could be even, but 8.5 wins. 8 wins is what I give them. Titans, 25th strength of schedule, 6.5 over and under. Ron, what'd you give them?
I'm going under here. I think they have been the worst looking team this preseason. I know it's preseason. Not a huge Cam Ward fan, never have been. I'm going under. I think, 6.5. To get to 7 wins, I just don't see it with them only winning 3 games last year. I'm going under.
Yeah, this was going to be my pick for last winless team. I went with Miami, but after that preseason game where it looked like the secondary did not want to tackle anybody, I was pretty shocked that it was Robert Saleh defense.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And Cam Ward is only a matter of time before he doesn't get the starting bid. AFC West, Chiefs, 5 strength of schedule, 10.5 is the over and under. Ron, what'd you give them?
Strength of schedule is really tough. Mahomes coming off an injury. I know he'll be playing. I don't know how healthy he is the start of the season. I'm going to go under. It's hard to root against the Chiefs or to say they won't succeed, but I think this division is, it's going to be tough, and I'm going to go under.
I'm going to go under as well. Not that they should win more than 6 games if Patrick Mahomes is, more decent quarterback at least. But they're not going to win the division. 10.5 is really, really high. So I'm going to go under. Raiders, 7th strength of schedule, 5.5 wins. Ron, what'd you give them?
I think their team's improved. Just at the quarterback position alone. I don't care if it's Cousins or Mendoza. Better than what they had out there last year. No, there's still issues with the offensive line, but they got 2 good running backs. They got the best tight end in the league. They're going to get to 6 wins. So I'm going over.
I went under. I've seen 2 preseason games. I know it's preseason, but I'm not, I'm not like, wow, this team is unstoppable. I just don't get that vibe yet. Maybe it's because of the preseason. I'm going to go under. I think Mendoza still has a lot to learn.
Oh yeah, he does, but
especially the speed of the game. I don't know if he knows how fast his DBs and linebackers are. It's not college anymore. So I went under. Broncos, 15th strength of schedule, 9.5 over and under. Ron, what'd you give?
I'm going over. They won 14 games last year. Surprised it's only at 9.5. I guess that probably is because they think the Chiefs are going to have a good year again. But I'm going over. I think Denver is capable of winning the division. They have a very good defense. They've added some pieces on the offense. I'm going over.
I'm also going over with the Broncos. I think Knicks is the key, right? If he's not, last year he wasn't, because there were some games last year
he wasn't
great, but he won them at the end. I want Knicks to play a complete game, but last year I felt like he didn't need to,
right?
Because the defense was so good. I think this year he actually plays 4 quarters,
right?
So I'm gonna go over. Chargers, 9 is the strength of schedule, 9.5 is the over and under. Ron, what'd you give them?
Yeah, I had the Chargers winning the division last year. I think I'll probably do that again this year. 9.5. I'm going over. They won 11. They got, they added a few pieces. They got, their running back healthy. So I think they'll get to 10 wins. And the Dolphins coach too is the offensive coordinator. What's his name?
McDonald?
Is that his name? McDaniel, yeah. So I think that relationship with Herbert, I think it's actually going to click. I think you'll see them throwing the ball downfield a lot, playing fast. I think the offense will look really good. I'm going over
as well because the offense should be better. I'm not sure the defense is going to be good because they lost Minster to the Ravens. He was the defensive coordinator. 11 wins is about right. I like the Broncos more over the Chargers, but I think that they'll win more than 10 games for sure.